The OnePlus 13 has been released in China, and I have to say, I'm actually genuinely excited to see what OnePlus has in store this year with the 13. Of course, it's out in China now, but we'll be waiting until January until we get our hands on the OnePlus 13. Some interesting new colors. I like that kind of blue and white, the eco leather that they have on the back of that phone. I'm looking forward to picking up that one. It does look pretty sharp. There are a few things that OnePlus changed for this year that kind of had me a little excited. OnePlus 12 wasn't that far off, right? Overall, I liked it. I have my misgivings about the software. That's still the case. It's still going to be a question mark. But this wasn't a bad phone by any means. Plenty of people it was fine for. If you like the OnePlus 12, save one thing on the OnePlus 13, you're probably going to enjoy the new phone when it's released. All right, first thing's design. Really like what they've done there. It looks sharp. I understand a lot of people, I get comments all the time saying, hey, if it doesn't have a curved glass, just miss me with it. It doesn't feel premium to me if it doesn't have a curved display, but it's going to have a flat display. It's going to be slightly different. It's going to be slightly similar, I should say, to what we've seen on phones like the Pixel 4 XL, Pixel 2 XL, where Google used to use that kind of curved glass. The functional parts of the phone, the functional parts of the display will no longer be curved. That ship has sailed. But the edges of the phone, it's not going to be that flat, sharp surface. You get something, if you've held an S24 FE, you know what I'm talking about? Kind of a sharp edge there. It's not going to be that. It's going to be nice in the hand. It's going to be rounded slightly. But the main meat of the display is going to be flat, which is going to annoy some people. I'm sorry there. The Snapdragon 8 Elite is where things start to get interesting. Of course, it's a OnePlus device. You're going to have 12 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM. I think you can get the terabyte version. You want to spend an exorbitant amount of money on a 24 gigabyte version model. That's fine. You could do that. But to me, the Snapdragon 8 Elite is genuinely interesting. You see some things there. They've done away with, and not to get too far into the weeds with this, but they've done away with the efficiency cores. Now there's these scalable, like Orion things going on with Qualcomm that they promise some really nice performance, like desktop class performance out of your OnePlus 13 device. It's not exclusive to OnePlus. The S25 Ultra is going to have this as well. But it is interesting to see for the first time on the OnePlus 13. Could we possibly see some better gaming experiences finally? You know, we have all this, we've heard of ray tracing for several generations now on the Snapdragon processors, chipsets, and it just doesn't, we're still just playing Balatro or Pokemon Go. But if we can have something that we can put on a display, we get good graphics, desktop class applications on mobile platforms, developers got to back this up too. It just can't be OnePlus adding all this power and there's just nobody using it. You can only open Instagram so fast. But if there is that kind of developer push along with it, we could see some legitimate changes in how we use our smartphone devices. That's something that no vapor chambers needed. They're able to scale cooling, power efficiency. OnePlus put a 6,000 milliamp hour battery in the OnePlus 13 this year. So there's plenty of options and opportunities there for a really excellent device on the hardware side. It'll just be interesting to see what's going on there. Then we get to software. Look, still a question mark to me. OxygenOS 15. Some people are going to have issues with it. There's a lot of iOS borrowed in there. I didn't eat Xiaomi's lunch for this, and I'm not going to eat OnePlus's lunch for this. There's only so many things you could do design-wise when you change things up on things like a notification shade before you're going to run into somebody else. Before it's going to be, well, that kind of looks like this, or that kind of looks like One UI, or that kind of looks like Material U. There's just so many things you could do and still have it be a traditional notification shade. So yes, are they borrowing some design elements from Apple? So what? If it works well, if it's updated quickly, if the software doesn't glitch all over the place, if the OxygenOS and ColorOS integration is actually smooth for a change, I got no problems. So if OnePlus was able to solve their software stuff with Android 15 and give a solid experience, then I'm looking forward to the OnePlus 13. And plenty of people didn't have problems with OxygenOS 14. And if you were in that boat, well, then you're really not going to have any issues because it's probably just going to be more of the same and you're going to enjoy your experience overall. We talked about the bigger battery. Cameras, yeah, they changed 3 50 megapixel sensors now. That's something that you could look forward to. The thing is that AI is going to be helping a lot more now. So that might be something that kind of brings the OnePlus photography out of kind of the sub-tier that it's in to maybe competing with Samsung and Google and Apple. So you've always had this thing where OnePlus photography, it's gotten a lot better. Okay, I think OnePlus 13 took really nice photos. But to me, it's just a step down from the other major manufacturers. So if they could add some computational stuff, if they could add some AI magic, which they do, it's a lot of the stuff you're going to see in Gemini and Galaxy AI. There's nothing like AI groundbreaking with the OnePlus 13 and OxygenOS 15. But if they can get their photography now on par with the other manufacturers because they're using AI, that gets a little bit interesting. Now, price tag's going up. In China, it was slightly more expensive. I get why. You're getting a lot of power from the Snapdragon 8 Elite. You're getting the bigger battery. They're going to an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, so that's a bit more expensive. So there are a few things here and there that kind of justify a higher price tag slightly. Slightly. OnePlus, if you're watching, I know you are, don't make the mistake you made with the OnePlus 10 Pro. Don't all of a sudden think that because you're getting the same horsepower as everybody else, because you're putting more RAM, a bigger battery, you got this nice, fancy, refined design, don't think that because you have all those things, you've improved photography potentially, that now you can go ahead and go toe-to-toe with Samsung price-wise like you did with the OnePlus 10 Pro. Don't release this phone at $1,200 because it's going to be a non-starter, just like that thing was. And hopefully you learned your lesson from getting smacked. Don't get stupid. Keep us enthused about this device. You got to raise the price, $950, upwards of $1,000, no complaints. I'm not going to eat your lunch for that. But if you come in over $1,000 for a base model of this thing, we're going to have problems. Personal. Well, it's going to be an issue because I think you have an opportunity to really offer and go toe-to-toe with Samsung and Google and make 2025 a pretty interesting year as far as smartphones are concerned because the S25 Ultra is going to be interesting. Samsung might be going with the same old stale design, just thinner bezels, thinner whatever. That's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. If OnePlus comes up with this OnePlus 13, we get our hands on it, and it's everything that they promise it is, then Samsung might be in a little bit of trouble, which is interesting. If you've made it this far, Open Canvas. Be interesting to see how it works on a smaller display. But a different multitasking, definitely something I'm looking forward to. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day. And for all of you fans out there, the OGs that stayed this long into the video, welcome to the new studio. Lots of stuff here is still to do here. I got to put those NanoLeaf things up on the wall. I got my Steve-licious sign that I got to put up on the wall. Sometimes I'm looking over here still because this is where my monitor is to make sure I'm centered. So there's a lot of spatial awareness stuff I got to work on. There's a lot of the Pusheen wasn't even facing the right way for that video. We got the cat here. We got the pumpkin Pusheen up there. We're gonna save for a little bit since it was Halloween. But this is what it's gonna look like. Now, I'm not somebody, and I never can be somebody, who's just gonna be able to do B-roll all over the place and whatever else. What we have is this. The stand-ups in front of the camera. I've got an arm that comes out to the side here over, and I'm going to have a second camera so we can basically have the angle that we're used to and that we've always had. So I could switch back and forth, but it's going to be one audio track. I'm not going to insert any clips or anything like that unless we're talking about something like a photo or something like that I normally do because I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to do a bunch of fancy B-roll and edit it in. I don't like that feel. I like the feel of having a conversation with you about these phones, like enthusiast to enthusiast, fan to fan. That's where I feel like I'm at my best. And that's where I feel like people like to watch my channel. So that's something that we're going to focus on. I promise we're not going to change the style. It's just going to be a little bit more professional, a little bit more going on visually to keep people engaged. But the core, the heart of what we do, is going to remain exactly the same. Until next time, once again, have that Steve-licious day.